Hey everyone, Miranda Pitrone back here with you. Tonight I have a lovely oval stone for us, and it was created using the Happy Dotting Company large oval mold. And I'll place that in description, a little link for that so you can find those to make your own. And I have just painted my stone with a black matte paint. A lot of you have asked me for ideas for designs for stones that are not a perfect circle. So, when we're doing mandalas and you have something that's a perfect circle, then, you start in the center and work your way out, and it looks pretty nice on there. Sometimes, though, you have stones that are natural stones that do not always fit. So I have this little guy here where I toss the design on there. Some nice fall colors with metallics. But obviously you can see this is not at all a round stone. So I just kind of made that one work. But for this one, what we're going to do tonight is kind of a little bit different. We're going to do a mandala that's a full mandala down one end. And at the other end, we'll just add mandala elements to the design as we work our way out. So to start off, we're going to choose an end, and you can either find something about 2 inches, which these little stones are 2 inches, or you can use a compass like this little guy. Now personally, I am not a huge fan of pencil lines. I don't like the eraser marks. Sometimes the eraser actually smudges the paint. It makes a mess. And chalk I just haven't ever used. So this is my etcher, and my etcher is my friend. He is the best tool, I would say, at this point, helping me out for drawing guidelines. So when we have something with a matte background like this, I just have this dotting tool where I actually broke the end off the stylus, and it's just a sharp end. And I actually have that in my compass. And so the compass you can set to different sizes. So we just want a 1 inch radius because we're going to have a 2 inch circle here to fit our first design. I'm just going to come down this end here, and at the 1 inch radius I'm just going to etch the circle into the stone like that. So you have the light markings in there. And now that will actually, at the end, be easier to get rid of if there's any of the lines showing, because I just take a damp cloth and wipe it, or a wet sponge brush, or I don't know, anything damp. Sometimes even I can just varnish it. I've done that before by accident without forgetting to erase the guidelines, and the varnish just soaked in and took care of it. They erased. So I think I'm also going to draw a few guidelines as we go out here, just so it makes it a little bit easier for people who enjoy using the guidelines to see about the size of the design we're doing. And so after our first circle, which was 2 inches in diameter, so I'm at 1 inch radius here, I'm just going to kick it out another 1/4 of an inch and draw our first guideline. And you want to keep the same center starting position, so another 1/4 of an inch. And this is merely a tool, it's a guideline. Don't think of them as boundaries. It's taken me a lot of practice to use guidelines. I've never really had used guidelines until this year and a couple of the stencils, and so I'm just looking at them as a guide, not as boundaries to stay in. I think it starts to feel a little stressful when you're trying to stay within the lines. I'm digging a hole in my stone here because I'm getting all excited about doing this, but I'm just doing 1/4 inch out each time. So I have my circle, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines at a 1/4 inch out a piece. And that'll just kind of help keep the symmetry for you as you go on to make your mandala elements. So So I picked out a green palette for tonight, and I'm thinking green and gold. And we'll see how that goes and what kind of design we come up with from there. Alright, so we're going to start off with gold here, the Dazzling Metallic Glorious Gold. Just a beautiful shiny gold. And I have a large brush. It's just a large round acrylic brush. And this one's a size 6. And it's just going to allow me to do a larger dot. And you guys have seen me do the large dots with the angled detailer too. It's just in the brushwork. There's nothing magic, I promise. I just get a lot on the brush to do a nice thick dot for our center. And we already have mine's kind of dug out here from the compass, but just like that. Have a nice big fat dot. Okay, next I just have Snow White. And I'm going to go to my small spot detailer. And we're just going to do a nice little ring around our gold here. So I'm doing a plus sign first to kind of act as a guide so that the spacing stays accurate. And then I'm just going to do 2 in between each of those dots that we put down for the plus sign. So that you have a white ring around the gold. Okay, next up I have this lovely light lime. And in the spaces in between the white dots, we're just going to put a light green dot in between each of those white dots in the space. Okay, next I have sea glass. And in between the greens that we just put down, those light limes, we're going to put some sea glass. So you can see it's kind of making a nice little sequence there. Alright, now y'all are going to get a little treat. So here's a little bonus. For those of you who are loyal watchers and watch it all the way through without fast forwarding and jumping through things, and because YouTube's still telling me a lot of people are only watching 6 minutes into my video, so we're at 9 minutes now. And I'm going to show you a couple little tricks for some design elements because I appreciate the fact that you stuck it out past the 6 minute mark and hung out with me here. So, a lot of you have been asking me how to do the oval dots that I've been creating. So like on these 2 new pieces, I started doing some oval dots. I'm already giving it away. Anyway, so along here, the oval ones, and then on my most recent one, my little pair, the oval dots. So, those of you using brushes, this is just a small flat brush and it's beveled. So it's on, like on an angle, just a little bit. And all you do is you take the flat brush, and here I got some already started, but all you do with these is almost just like with your dotting tools. And as the paint runs out, you get smaller little ovals. So that was what I used. However, I have found a couple other tools that people have sent me to try out to see how I like. And I think that they will be handy for people who get frustrated with brushes. So this is a little tidbit. So there's one end of this that is, it's like a cuticle type tool. And there's one end that's silicone, and that actually has ovals. That makes these larger ones. So you just dip and dot it. And y'all have to forgive me because I'm not as adept at the tools as a lot of you are. But you get the idea of how you can have a nice big oval with this type. But there's an added bonus to this one, is that the bottom side also makes these fun little tiny ones. So you can create the big oval and then put little ones around it. And you don't have to worry about using brushes. So I got a couple extra of these, and I will toss them in my shop. I might even be doing a giveaway soon. I might be throwing some in there too. We'll see. One in there. But those are two different ways with these. So another way you can do it, or I was selling these in the shop a while ago, but I decided once I found them on Wish that I'll just show you guys all that you can get them a lot cheaper on Wish. I think they were like $2 for shipping and they were free, and then it was a big 6-pack or something like that. So these you can actually do the big puffy dots with as well. And I purchased a funnel to fill them. There's also, Wish has these little funnels for like $1. So you can do the 3D dots again. I've shown these in the past, but you can also make your ovals 3D. So I know a lot of you don't have the time to test out a bunch of different tools, and I appreciate the fact that you stuck it out with me. So you can see you can get the ovals even doing the writers. So Decoart even has some of these gel writers. They have ones that you can refill, and then they also have ones black, white, and there's a glass one, I believe, writers. So I can post a link for those as well. But if you're going to grab the ones off of Wish, like these, I just take stainless steel pins, like for sewing. And when I'm done with it, I actually just, you can put it down in here, but I think I showed you guys before. These ones, you can just shove it down through the top. Maybe it's too long. Sorry. So you just shove it down through the top and then put the pin right through the hole, and then it's self-sealing, just like that. Anyway, so those are just a couple of little tidbits. I stuck my hand in that one, but just so you guys, because you're awesome and stuck it out, I decided to share that with everyone. But if I can find another one of these little guys too, I'll post a link in the description for these too. So it is just a flat brush, and this one I've had for a long time. I'm not really even sure, the name's like rubbed off, and there's not even a size. So I will have to go through and find one about the same size for y'all, and then I'll post it. But that is It's a fairly easy brush to use to just go ahead and make the dot. It's the oval dots. It's just a gentle pressure, and it's a very soft brush. So you just wiggle it and push down. Here's another one while we're at it. I just realized I have this on my practice sheet. So one of the things too is I tend to practice brush strokes often just so I can keep up on my skills too, because they don't just stay. It's not like riding a bike where you can just hop on and keep going. You just kind of keep your muscle memory going with it. So I have another brush here that's another flat brush. This one's a 1/4 inch flat brush that's on a bevel. But also these two fun little teardrops that you can just kind of pull down like this and make fun little shapes as well. And it does take a little bit of practice. I'm not gonna lie, it's not magic, but if you're looking into getting into the brushes, then it's something that's worth an investment into, because it offers you another different shape to do for your painting. So you can see this one too is beveled. It goes on an angle. So one thing I just want to urge all of you is to just try new things. Try dipping everything in paint, testing it out. If you don't feel like using brushes, or you feel like brushes aren't your thing, or you're getting frustrated with them, I don't know, just dip pens and Q-tips in the ends of brushes, or people are using drill bits. There's tons of different things out there that make different shapes. So I just urge you all to just be courageous, go out there and try something different. We now return you to your regularly scheduled video. I'm just kidding. All right, so all right, we started off our sequence here, and I just started with the light lime. We did sea glass, and actually I did white, light lime, then sea glass around our gold center. All right, so next up I'm gonna go bright with this nice apple green. And even with this angle spot detailer, a lot of you say it's not working for you. I don't trim the brushes or anything. It's just practice. So I just overload the brush, and then I'm just kind of wiggling it around to get the different size dots. So a little bigger, just wiggle it a little more. You're just kind of painting a circle. And then also when you're doing the dots that are progressive in size around something, you just let up as you get smaller. And you may be losing paint still off the tool, but you can just let up on it, and the dots will decrease in size as well. So also, actually, if you don't want to use brushes for your center, you could have used your squeeze writer, the fillable paint bottle, to do your center as well, depending on how 3D you wanted your dot. Oh, that was a lot more paint on there than I meant. Alright, now since I just showed you how to do the ovals, let's tuck them in here. Just like that. This color is Bluegrass green. It's a great contrast to that. So I think I'm gonna put them every other space though, not close together, so we can add some elements around our oval dots. So skip one, go to the next. And there you have some nice ovals. Alright, now while the ovals are still wet, I'm actually going to grab a little bit from the center of them to add some dots around the outside of them. Oops. Stuck a little dot out where I didn't mean to. Alright, so this is kind of the beauty of having a background. I'm just going to show you this really quick too. So when you have a background color, it's very easy. I just got a dot out here by accident. You can just wipe the paint off, which I didn't have to because it wasn't that high up. There wasn't a big dot. And then I just go over it with the black because that's my background color, just to even it out a little bit again. And then I'll let it dry, and then we'll dot around that, and you'll never know it was there. Quick and painless. But that is the beauty of having backgrounds too, is that way you can just adjust by tossing some of your background down. It dries really quick. Just put a thin layer, and then you can repaint the area. Alright, so we have a ring around our first row. Okay, I'm gonna go back and grab a little bit more of that light lime. And we'll do a row of the light lime around as well. Now what I'm gonna do is I wanna have this kind of start to be coming to a point at the top here. So I'm gonna make this dot a little bit larger, and then go smaller around. The oval dot. So a little bit larger, and then small. Alright, sorry. I think somebody was playing with my camera angles. Alright, so a little bit larger with a top dot, and then go smaller around here. And this is the light lime. And larger, I'm just pushing down a little bit harder to get the larger dot. And I'm just doing this around one side at first to just kind of see how I like it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is to keep the light lime on the same brush, and we're going to go above the dot, the large dot, and we're going to take a swipe down around our oval just like that. And depending on your dexterity, some people may have an easier time pulling the paint towards them, some might have an easier time pushing the swipe away, so it just depends on what you feel comfortable with. If you feel more comfortable with pushing away, then you just start at the top, push down hard with your brush, and then just guide it slowly around to where you want the point. Slow, slow, slow. Take your time. Swipe swooshes. I know I've said this a bunch of times, but really, really, really just take your time. It's a brush stroke. You can also do it with your dotting tools, and I urge you to do it slow with the styluses as well, because if you do it slow with the stylus, it keeps the paint connected to your tool, connected to the stone, and it will help drag that tail out longer, which is all what you'll keep asking me. How do you get the long tail, the long tail? Keep your tool connected to the stone as long as possible. So slow, overload it, and take your time. So push down hard with the brush, guide it around slow, and then pick up at the end just to make that little whip tail. And so I'm a little better with pulling it towards me, so just so you can see, I push down, and then you just guide it around the area you want it to go. And then kind of flick it at the end, just let the bristles pick up. But you'll get it, it just takes some practice. I promise they're not perfect. But it'll give you a longer tail if you load the paint on it and keep your tool connected for a longer amount of time. Okay, I'm going to go back to that sea glass and down the side to just kind of balance out the design a little bit. We'll go back over here and put some dots back on top of where the light lime is. So that's going to culminate in between the end of your swipe and the other elements. So. And again, this is the sea glass. If you can't tell from the video, it's just a shade darker of the green from the light lime. There you go. We have a nice little flower mandala design going. Okay, now before we get a little further, I'm going to go back and grab my gold. And I'm going to do my outline of my circle here, just so I can kind of cordon that off a little bit. We're just going to place each gold decently close to one another. Just don't let them bleed into one another. These are just a little bit bigger. Probably about, if you're using dotting styluses, it's probably about your 2mm. If you have that rainbow set, it's the blue one with the ball on the end. Now that I've been using both, it's getting a little bit easier to kind of translate into about the size. But I still don't use the crochet hooks or anything like that, so I couldn't tell you guys. It's just create your own size design from your tools. And then you have a nice gold outline there for our little mandala flower. Alright, so as I'm looking at this, I'm kind of feeling like I need to add another color into this. And I know the green and gold are great. I'm just feeling like we need some lavender, I think, or purple. Put some purples in here with this. So I'm going to start grabbing some of those to toss in here. And I have this nice Hydrangea color that is one of the new Mulitisurface colors. And I think I'm going to start off with that one. Alright, and I'm going to grab my little flat brush again. And in between the two here, I'm just going to put a nice little oval in there as well. I like my dots nice and thick too, so I'm overloading the brush quite a bit actually. So they do take a little bit longer to dry, but that is how I get that kind of puffier look. Here. And I'll just grab one of these other detailing brushes. And I think we'll kind of leave some negative space in there, so I think what I'm going to do, you know what, I'm going to go darker. Yeah, I'm going to go darker purple on either side of it. Let's throw a little bit of this purple sunset. Just on either side of those little ovals. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to start thinking about going to the outward design here. So kind of in my mind, I'm divvying up the stone into spaces. So this would be like the center, and you could do two halves. Actually, I've seen a lot of people do some really nice dream catchers, so you could do that on these stones. But I'm going to continue on with the mandala, so I'm just thinking about divvying it up into spaces here so that I have half my stone and then two more spaces here. So you can kind of see where I've etched the lines on there. So you can measure, go to the center of your stone and just kind of give yourself a guideline there down the center. And then a little more than halfway over, I guess. Just to give us a little bit of space to do some design work in here. Alright, so for those of you using the same size stone, I can just measure it. So about 1 inch away for both of those lines from your center, just on an angle. So hopefully that'll help you. And so I'm going to go back to this beveled edge brush, and I think we'll do 3 of those teardrop designs. We'll start in the center, and I'm going to start at the second, well, do you want to go up high enough so we can do dots around it? Yeah, let's do that. Alright, I'm going to start at the 1, 2, 3rd line that we made, push down, and then just kind of drag it into that teardrop shape just a little bit. It has a bevel on it, so it's going to give a little bit of a lip tail. Same on this side. Up to the 3rd line, push down a little bit, and then let up just at the bottom line. Same over here. Start off at the 3rd line, push down a little bit, and then let up just at that last line. And it gives you kind of that petal teardrop shape. Alright, so grab my spot detailer here again. And we'll start off with the white. I think we'll do a ring of white around these little guys. And then we'll just come down around the bottom to the point. And then down this side. So with your dotting tools, you're just going to let the paint run off your tool to get the smaller dots. And then with the brush, you're just lightly doing the smaller dots. You push down harder at the beginning. Okay, let's take that apple green again. We'll do a row around with that. And the multi-surface ones are a little bit thicker. And we'll bring it all the way down to the bottom as well. I have a little bit too much paint on this one. Okay, let's use that purple sunset again and go around them to carry that purple out into the outer part of the design. Plus it looks so nice right next to the green. All right, let us go back to the gold and pull that out. And we're going to do some swipes here. So I'm going to start with this first one at the top here. So we're going to push down at this line, and we're going to go, let's extend it down 2 lines, and we'll go over to this design here. So we're going to start at the top, drag it all the way. I mean, we need a little bit more paint on here. And drag all the way down for 2 lines over to the other design. About halfway down, because that's where our other line cuts through. And the same on this one. Start at the peak. And then come around. I'm going to need another double dip here, just with a smaller brush to drag it all the way down. And this one's going to be a little bit trickier off to the side, but we can do it. So you're going to pretend like you have another purple oval element here going on. So we're going to drag it from the top, and then 1 line, 2 lines. So it's going to hit just about here on our stone. So this is where the guidelines do come in handy, is when you don't have another section over there to guide you. And we're dragging it down 2 lines. I was off camera, sorry. And then now we just have to decide how we're going to fill in the rest. Okay, since I used the darker colors, the darker green and the darker purple on this, I'm going to go with the light lime and the hydrangea to do our other ones here. So I think I'm going to grab the hydrangea first. I'm going to start under this gold swipe, and just like we dragged this one out long, we're going to drag this hydrangea one long down for 2. Do I want to do that? Yeah, maybe we'll just tuck it under and we'll just start layering like this. So out here. Let's toss another one over here and see. I don't know if I like it. But that's part of the thing I like to do too. You know, try something out. If it doesn't work, scrape it off and do something different. And then the next one will go there. Let's just go with it and see where it takes us. So my other one here. Just a little bit trickier because we don't, like I said, have the guide. And then we'll switch to the light green. The light lime. And we're just going to tuck under that. Let's grab our white. So as I'm going about this, I took a day off to come back to it, and the more I look at it, the more I'm feeling like it just needs a pop of something bright. So I think I'm going to add some coral blush to this, and I think it'll give us just the pop we need. So I'm going to take my flat brush, a small flat, and I think I'm going to add down here a little oval. Another one here. And one more here. And I think to kind of round it out, put one over there as well. And while these are still wet, I'm going to steal a little bit from them and just carry the coral down in here, just a couple dots under the hydrangea that we put in here. Next, we're going to take our white again. I think what we'll do is just add 3 little dots over each of our hydrangea. Just to kind of pull it out to the gold ring. Hello, buddy. Okay, now I'm going to take some crystal green and we'll put some dots, just a big dot at the top of each one of those little flower petal brush strokes. Now we'll go back and grab some of that bluegrass green, and on either side of these coral dots that we put down, I'm going to put some of that bluegrass green. Okay, now instead of going around every element, I'm just going to continue on with this center one to keep the design going out. So I'm going to continue with the bluegrass green and go just above our gold swipe here, and then I'm going to bring it down to meet our other gold swipe down here, just like that. Okay, now we're going to grab our coral and just go above the gold we have here with some dots. So it's just to kind of even out these two so that we can put another design around them. typical dark purple sunset that we had used before. We'll do a swipe here over the coral. Just be careful you don't hit your dots. Okay, so I'm going to grab the hydrangea again and start at the top here, the larger dot, and then work my way down the sides, on both sides. We'll go back to a round of the dark sunset dots. I'm going to go back to our gold for a minute here and just do one swipe on this side. I kind of have an affinity for the asymmetrical type designs where it's not the same on both sides. And you just kind of make it your own. It definitely comes out to be a unique piece. I think we'll do a row of white dots just on the outside of that purple. Large coral swipe to just kind of finish that side off. So now I just want to kind of check out here where else we can fill in. So definitely over here we need something. I think we'll do a coral down that side as well. we'll grab the purple sunset and go a little bit shorter. And then we'll go back to that bluegrass green. So I'm just filling in the top part here of the oval. Right up through here. Okay. Now I'm going to go down either side with the white. Alright, now I'm looking at this. We have our stripes, our swipes right here of the light lime and the sea glass and the hydrangea. And I think to add to this, I'm just going to put them over here, the tails, just to kind of balance out the design a little bit here. Okay, so the light lime is just over our coral. And then the sea glass. And then hydrangea. Okay, I think I'm going to carry this bluegrass green to dot all around our circle here. I'm actually just going to go above the gold ones that we did instead of in between the spaces. And the gold is a little bit thinner, so you can see I'm just kind of swirling around the brush to get a bigger dot with this. But you can always just upsize your tool or even go to a bigger brush. But I'm just painting circles with the green. Okay, and I think I'll do a round of the white. I think I'll do these in between and a little bit smaller. Alright, so there we have a fun design for the oval stones. It's just something different to put on these fun stones. And so you can even add top dots or other things to this. I know it's kind of got to be a bit of a complicated but fun asymmetrical design, and on the ovals too, that's kind of what you can do is the asymmetrical, because it's not going to be your full mandala. But you could get a little one like we did in here in the bottom. Alright, so we used a lot of colors in this one, a lot more than just greens and golds like I was thinking, but I think we just needed that pop of the color for the coral and the purples, and I think that really helped the color ratio of our design here. So, alright, if you guys are looking to see more of my videos or get a notification whenever I put out a video, just click the bell and subscribe and you will see whenever my new ones come out. I switch between dotting tools and brushes just to kind of vary it up a little bit throughout the videos. And if you're looking to just kind of see more photos of my art, I am on Instagram and we can interact there, but also Facebook at Miranda Pitrone Art is another great place to find out when I do giveaways and events and Etsy sale posts, all sorts of stuff on there on Facebook. So I'm all around. You can find me, and I hope you enjoy doing this little stone with me. I'll put the links for anything that I used in the video, like the turntable or the stone molds and the paints and all that. I'll put those in the description of this video. So I hope you all have an awesome day and enjoyed this, and I look forward to doing more with you. Happy painting!